So today we have a new homework, which is we have to create a file called bouncing boxes HTML and put some code which will make our object to implement the draw function so that the boxes end up moving around, but when they reach the edge of the canvas they bounce off it like if you throw a ball against the wall, they bounce from the side, top, right, bottom, and left. We have some code here, and I have already written my code here. So let's check, and then I will explain what is written here. So open with Google. Look, it's my objects. If I'm not mistaken, there are some 1,000 objects and with different colors. So what we have here, we created just simple HTML file here, doc type, HTML head, body starts here and ends here, and HTML closes, and this is all we have in from our HTML. Here is another HTML line, like we created canvas with give it ID canvas, with to it 500 and height 300. Here is our JavaScript, which here he's written some logic how to make our objects move. First of all, we to access canvas from our JavaScript, we created new variable, give it name canvas, and attach it to canvas with document get element by ID. And then what we have done, we define that our canvas gonna have only 2 dimensions, and x and y. Like we can have also 3 dimensions. So but basically we are using 2 dimensions. Now here is our number of that elements boxes. We give it 1,000. It's much, but it's more beautiful for me. Here we will come to this later. So what we do this with this okay, here we created array, give it name points, and for any we want to create an objects in array, that objects will have x coordinate, y coordinate, width, height, x delta, y delta, and color. So and those we push, and here in our in array points we will have n number elements, objects that will have those attributes. So we give to our position x random number between 0 to 1, and multiply this with canvas width, which is as a result our x dimension will be between 0 and canvas width points. So it can't be out of our canvas like this. Likewise we did with our y dimension, and give it to width and height, and it's also random numbers. For each element we will have random numbers, so our objects mostly will not be the same. They could be the same, but they will have some different different sides. And delta x and delta y delta and x delta is the is how much we want to change uh, our x and y during our every time we call function. So we'll see this later. Here is written all we need, and the color I give get random. I wrote another function which creates random numbers, random colors, and here's get random color of I called it here, and which returns colors. So every time for each point we will have different color. So here is our draw function. The most basically our work is all work is here. So let's look what we have here. So here in our draw function, first of all we clear our canvas, and for each point of our array, for each object we give it color, and then create that object with point x, point y, with here is width, we give it math random, and height with the same way. So after that, every time we implement to our point x with point dot x delta, which is every time we add here is it's equal to 1, is the same as if we written that point dot x plus is equal 1, or with the same way plus plus. Every time we add to it 1, so our object's x dimension will always be changed with 1. And then here is our animate function, which calls our draw functions every 10 milliseconds. And here we have only to understand this stuff. What is written here? Here is written, if our canvas width minus point x is smaller than point width, point dot x delta should be minus 1. Why? This is written if our like this and like this. If our point is partially out of our canvas, make it come back, and then do the other logic that we will need. So then it's written, else if it's already in our canvas, it may be two ways when our x dimension, our objects bounce to from our canvas walls. Here we have two walls in x dimension. Here when it's our x is equal to canvas width, and here when x is equal to 0. So if our if point x is smaller than, sorry, I made a mistake. If it's smaller than 0, or this is the smaller than 0, or our point x is bigger than canvas width here minus point width, which is yeah, our x dimension x point x is left above point of any object, so I need not the above left point, but I want all object be in our canvas. So if it's when it reaches the point when it wants part of go out of, we change the dimension from positive to negative, or from negative. So when it reaches here, it our x delta becomes -1, and it starts to go back. And when it reaches to this point, when our x delta reaches to 0, our point x reaches to 0, it makes positive x and goes back, and like this. All logic is this, and the same way we write it for our point y, for y dimensions. So nothing has been changed for this, just instead of width we wrote here height, and point y instead of point x. So that's all. Hope you understand something from my explanation. I'm not so good, so sorry for inconvenience.